She stood on the cracked sidewalk of East 12th Street in Oakland, California, her hands cuffed behind her back, the metal biting into her wrists as the officer tightened them with a deliberate twist. He laughed, a sharp, mocking bark that echoed off the brick walls of the corner store. "Look at you, little girl, thinking you run these streets," he said, his voice dripping with contempt. "You're nothing but a statistic waiting to happen." She was 16, her name Aisha Carter, and in that moment, she swore she would never forget the sound of that laugh. He shoved her into the back of the patrol car, the door slamming shut like a coffin lid. "Keep dreaming, kid," he called through the window, still chuckling as he climbed into the driver's seat. "You'll be back here before you're 18. The car pulled away, tires crunching over broken glass, and Aisha stared out at the fading storefronts, her jaw clenched so tight it ached. She didn't cry, not then, not ever. They processed her at the station, fingerprints smudged in black ink, mugshot taken under harsh fluorescent lights. The charge, loitering with intent to sell, the evidence, a crumpled $20 bill in her pocket and a backpack full of library books. The officer, his badge read J. Malone, signed the report with a flourish, still smirking as he handed it to the desk sergeant. "Another one for the system," he said, loud enough for Aisha to hear. "Bet she's pregnant by next year." She spent the night in juvenile holding, curled on a thin mattress, the laughter ringing in her ears like a looped track. When her grandmother picked her up the next morning, Aisha didn't speak. She just nodded, took the bus pass, and went home to the same cramped apartment on 23rd Avenue. But something had shifted. The laugh wasn't just sound anymore. It was fuel. He didn't think about her again. Officer Malone went back to his shift, his routine, his certainty that the world worked exactly as he expected. He wrote tickets, broke up fights, filed reports. He laughed at the same jokes in the precinct locker room, the ones about those kids and those neighborhoods. He cashed his city paycheck every 2 weeks, never noticing the name on the signature line had changed. They released Aisha with a warning and community service. She showed up at the rec center every Saturday, sweeping floors, tutoring younger kids, keeping her head down. But at night, she studied. Not just the assigned readings, the library books she'd been carrying that day. She devoured finance textbooks, biographies of black entrepreneurs, anything she could find on building something from nothing. Her grandmother watched, said nothing, just left a plate of food on the table and a light on in the hallway. She graduated high school 2 years later, top 10%, scholarship to UC Berkeley. Officer Malone was there that day, working crowd control for the ceremony. He didn't recognize her. She saw him, though, leaning against his cruiser, arms crossed, same smirk. She walked past without a word, her cap tilted just so, her future already written in the margins of her notebook. He kept climbing the ranks, sergeant by 35, lieutenant by 40. He trained rookies, gave speeches at community meetings about law and order, shook hands with council members. He bought a house in the hills, sent his kids to private schools, posted vacation photos from Cabo. Life was good, predictable, safe. They crossed paths again in 2018 at a city budget hearing. Aisha, now 30, sat at the table in a tailored suit, her company, Carter Solutions, bidding on a contract to overhaul Oakland's payroll system. She'd built it from a dorm room app that helped small businesses track expenses. 10 employees then, 100 now, investors from Silicon Valley to Atlanta. She spoke clearly, confidently, her slides crisp, her numbers airtight. He was there as a union rep, arguing against outsourcing. "We don't need some tech startup telling us how to run our city," he said, voice booming. "These people don't understand the streets." He didn't see her at first, then she stood to respond. "Actually, Lieutenant Malone," she said, her voice cutting through the room like a blade, "I understand the streets better than you ever will. I grew up on them. You just policed them." The room went still. He blinked, recognition flickering, then hardening into something colder. "You," he muttered. She smiled, small and sharp. "Yes, me." They awarded the contract to Carter Solutions 6 weeks later. The city saved $2 million in the first year. Aisha's company grew. She hired more engineers, opened an office in Atlanta, then Chicago. She mentored kids from East Oakland, funded coding camps, sat on boards. Her name started appearing in Forbes, then on the cover of Black Enterprise. She bought her grandmother a house in the hills. Not the same hills as Malone's, but close enough. He retired at 55, forced out after a brutality complaint stuck. The city offered a pension, a plaque, a handshake. He took it, bitter but quiet. His wife left. His kids stopped calling. He moved to a condo in Tracy, played golf, complained about kids these days, to anyone who'd listen. They met one last time in 2023, at the DMV of all places. He was renewing his license. She was there for a business registration, her driver pulling up in a black Escalade. He saw her first, standing at the counter, signing forms. Same posture, same focus. He walked over, slower now, his knees creaking. "Ms. Carter," he said, voice rough. She turned, looked at him. "No smile this time. You remember me," he said, not a question. "I remember everything," she replied. He shifted, uncomfortable. "I was just doing my job. You were laughing," she said, "while you did it." He opened his mouth, closed it, looked away. She stepped closer. "You know what I do now, Lieutenant. I sign paychecks, city paychecks, including yours. Every month, your pension goes through my system, my code, my company. You cashed the first one last week." He stared at her, the weight of it settling in his chest like a stone. She leaned in, voice low. "You thought I was nothing, a statistic. But statistics don't build empires. They don't outlast the people who count them." He had nothing to say. She walked away, heels clicking on the tile, her driver holding the door. They say he stopped playing golf after that. Stopped talking about the good old days. Just sat in his condo, staring at the direct deposit notifications on his phone. Her name at the bottom of everyone. She kept building, kept hiring, kept winning, and every year on the anniversary of that arrest, she sent a donation to the Juvenile Justice Reform Fund. Anonymous, no note, just the transfer, clockwork. He died in 2025, quietly in his sleep. The obituary mentioned 30 years of service, a loving father, a dedicated public servant. No mention of the laugh, no mention of the girl. She read it online, closed the tab, and went back to work.